I'm calling the Monday, November 9th meeting of the Ayer Board of Health to order. And the first thing on our agenda is public input. Do we have any public input? No? Okay. Do we have, is Pace and/or Silent Spring with us?
I don't think they're here yet.
Yeah, okay. All right, that actually is not a problem because what we can do is just kind of change the order of things a little bit. So I can give you the update that I got from Bridget. So I spoke to her this morning in the, like town COVID call for lack of a better word. Oh,
There's Laurel
from Lori. Yeah, and Lori says she needs the. Okay,
there we are.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Sorry, ladies. If I looked at my emails more often.
Not a worry. We're glad we're still invited.
Oh, always.
You're still yes. You're still invited. So, well, on that note, would you like to speak to us? We are there. We didn't have anything, or do you have anything that you're offering as public input?
Let's see. Let me just put a little bit of light on in my background.
I think we're all having trouble with the lighting. It's
I know. We all look like we're
figuring out what works.
Yeah. It's this time change and this like darkness at night is
kind of catches you by surprise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, Lori, if you were going to say anything about the RAB that would be appropriate under public input, there is a RAB meeting next Thursday, a virtual RAB meeting.
Yes.
That I'll be attending. And I'll also be attending the virtual PACE meeting on Monday in preparation for that. So just kind of let you know what's
Thank you, Pam.
what's going on there.
Just as a general public announcement, in case somebody else views this during the course of the week, these RAB meeting stands for Restoration Advisory Board, and these are the meetings.
Lori, can you come closer so we can hear you? Thank you.
Well, now you can see me better, right?
Oh, stop.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yes, Restoration Advisory Board is the RAB meeting, and we haven't had one of these since last February. So this is a pretty big and important meeting in that it's the first time we're coming back, and I think that it's a little bit experimental on the Army's perspective, and we've been wanting them to have their public meetings for really quite a long time. A lot has been going on. They're posting that they're going to be talking about only 2 issues, and one of the 2, in my mind anyhow, is not a major issue. There are lots of other things going on that I wish were on the agenda, but they're not. So I will just update you by saying that last Tuesday morning, I got an email from, I think it was Carol Keating with the EPA, letting me know that right then, as I had logged on at 10 o'clock, they were starting what they call a BCT meeting, which is a base committee team, I think is what it stands for. And those are harder to get into. They're daytime meetings and they're more technical. And I did attend that meeting for as much as I could, without any notice or heads up. I had other things going on, but I attended what I could and learned a lot about what's going on kind of behind the scenes of the things we don't really hear about. And I was quite concerned because there's a lot of disagreement over things that are happening at what they're calling area number 1, which is the area that's close to Barnum Road and the Ayer wells. So it's the area that they're concerned about in terms of impact on drinking water supplies. And the contention had to do with not putting in enough and the right kind of monitoring wells around Cold Spring Brook. And as you may know, Cold Spring Brook is what they used to think blocked the groundwater from flowing toward Harvard private for all the people that live on, they said that would be the east side of the brook. Are finding PFAS in some of the homes there.
Wow.
So the Harvard Board of Health is now becoming involved and interested. And as you may have noticed, they did come to the last meeting, and they're now on our email list. So anyhow, there has been a number of contentious issues that are going on with Devon's remediation, and it is definitely something we need to be kind of focusing and paying attention and pushing them once again.
Yeah.
The other big issue that's going on, I'll try to summarize this very quickly. We did talk about this at our last PACE meeting. So the 5-year report that has been worked on for a long time, there are a large number of issues. We counted, I believe it's 6 major ones, where there's quite a bit of disagreement between the Army moving forward with what they want to be closing down some of the remediation sites and the sites that they're supposed to be monitoring. Used to be 4 times a year, then it was twice a year, then it was once a year, and they want to go to nothing. And
Okay.
A and DP say not so fast, essentially. So those are important issues, and you will be getting a comment letter. Actually, I accidentally released it early. It wasn't quite ready to go out today, so you may have gotten like a draft of it, and
I see.
it will be coming out officially probably tomorrow or the next day from us.
Yeah, got it.
Concerns that we have.
So is the new, well, it's not really new stuff, but the Area 1 stuff, is that all PFAS, or are there other chemicals involved?
Other chemicals had previously been involved, so we had been focusing that because it had, I'm pretty sure it was petroleum, was the petroleum byproducts were the big. They did a lot of remediation there, going back in time quite a ways. Familiar with this site? They restored the wetland there. They did a lot of work already, but they were looking for PFAS at that time, so there were there's no testing done for it. So, had we known about it at that time, we could have easily found it in the sampling that they did. But for it back, it's probably like, I don't know, maybe 2015 it was being done.
Got it.
Oh, like behind where media, the newspaper building.
Yeah. Yep. I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
There.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a tricky area to remediate because they kept finding other pockets of contamination, and so they expanded the cleaning up to, I think, 3 different areas, if I'm remembering correctly. So we were in the process of closing that out, and then PFAS came along.
Yeah.
Meeting said you need to test everywhere, and so that's everywhere we look for it, we're finding it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, that's cheerful. No, my goodness.
My opinion is the cheerful news is that we have our treatment plant up and running at the Devon's pond wells. And in comparison to other towns in Massachusetts, we really are ahead of the game. And I'm feeling a lot more confident in terms of our own health exposure from drinking water.
Good.
So other towns and cities are much worse than we are. Our levels are lower, and our progress in getting that filtration. Is better. So,
well, the RAB should be interesting, and as I say, I will be calling into your meeting next Monday, so I'll stay tuned.
Thank you
for the Devon's part of this. I see Laurel is looking eager to present, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah, ready when you are.
So what's going on? Just give us the next little chunk of information that we can
Okay.
handle.
Yeah, we're doing the bite-size info here. So I think what we had talked about last time was to talk a little more about drinking water this time around, and a little bit more about the study specifically. So, and Lori has some pictures and some information she wanted to share as well about some information she's been uncovering.
Okay.
And I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but just to reiterate, in October, DEP finalized the state's PFAS drinking water standard. So it's one of the only states that has an enforceable standard, and it's among the strictest standards of any state in the U.S. So yay, Massachusetts, for being proactive on this.
Yeah.
And so, like, where do PFAS in drinking water come from? And you all know one of these, which is AFFF firefighting foams, which are used at many military bases and airports and other fire training areas across the country. Our companion site in Hyannis, the largest source, is a municipal fire training area where these were used by local fire departments. There are industries where these chemicals are either manufactured or they're used and incorporated into products. So the communities around those industries can also have water contamination. Wastewater discharges, so from a treatment plant or from septic systems, pick up PFAS. If it's industrial wastewater, it could be higher in PFAS, but just our household wastewater can pick up traces of PFAS. We talked last time about all the products we use in our homes that have PFAS, and they never go away. And so they, you kind of have a chemical fingerprint from the products that you use in your home. And so when it goes to the wastewater treatment plant, they don't really break down. Some of them end up in the effluent, the water, so they go into rivers or at least on the Cape, in the groundwater. And then also some of it ends up in the biosolids, aka sludge.
Yeah.
And also landfills, because we throw stuff out, and then that leachate can pick up PFAS, and then that leachate, if it's online, just goes into the ground, and if it's lined, that often goes to a wastewater treatment plant. And this is just a graph from a paper that I co-authored. It was led by some of my colleagues from Harvard School of Public Health. This was based on nationwide data from 2013 to 2015, kind of limited, but informative study by EPA on PFAS in large public water supplies in the US. And the Harvard group did geospatial analysis to look for certain types of sources in the watershed areas around different water supplies. And not surprisingly, for instance, if there's a military fire training area near a water supply, they were much more likely to have detectable PFAS. Same for some of these other sources here. I'm not going to talk too much about our previous research, but I could talk about our previous research a lot. But one thing that we've thought about on the Cape is septic systems, since most Cape residents rely on a septic system to treat their wastewater. And this graph is from a study that we have underway right now called STEEP. It's led by University of Rhode Island. It includes Harvard as well. And we tested 101 private wells throughout Cape Cod. The vast majority were below the DEP's new standard, which was good news. But even at these kind of lower levels, we did see a signal from what we think are septic systems. So this is looking at the wells sorted by their nitrate levels, and their average total concentration was higher in wells that had higher PFAS in wells that had higher nitrate. And we previously, in a separate study, also saw associations between PFAS and artificial sweeteners, which is a excellent wastewater marker if you're ever looking for a wastewater marker. It can't rule out things like landfills or just like places where people are, but the two kind of go hand in hand.
Is that because PFAS is chemically combining with nitrates or the artificial sugar?
No, it's a sign. So on the Cape where you see higher nitrate, that often comes from septic systems. So it's just a proxy. It's just telling you that these are wells that have maybe more impact from septic systems where there's higher nitrate. And so we see that reflected in other chemicals as well that come from septic systems. So artificial sweetener, we've separately studied pharmaceuticals. So those all sort of go together. We might have touched on this last time as well, but nationwide there are now thousands of sites where PFAS have been detected in drinking water, or where there's groundwater or surface water contamination. When I made this slide, EWG had estimated over 110 million Americans have PFAS in their drinking water. I should have updated the slide. I think they revised that to 200 million. So these are showing up really pretty much everywhere. One thing I noted from our previous study on the Cape with private wells is that where we didn't see any nitrate and we didn't see any artificial sweetener, we also didn't see any PFAS. Because sometimes we get the question like, oh, couldn't these just be coming from atmospheric deposition? And there can be atmospheric deposition, but we think that that's not really leading to kind of measurable
That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh.
So where there's people, there's usually some PFAS. I think we talked about this last time, that there are states that have done a lot more testing, and so there's
North Carolina. Wow.
I know.
So that's a combination. I mean, they do have industries. They have a DuPont spin-off plant that's making has made one of the replacement chemicals. It's called Gen-X. Yeah, but they've also done testing because they've had a problem. It's kind of like COVID. Like, if you don't test, you won't find it, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, it's not really a strategy.
Yeah, exactly. So here in Massachusetts, this is a map from Mass DEP. So far there have been 30 public water supplies. These are both community systems and some non-community systems that have tested over 20 parts per trillion. This doesn't mean that they are all currently over 20 parts per trillion. It just means they have had PFAS over that level.
Sure.
And I think DEP's been doing work ahead of the new standard to reach out to water supplies they think are vulnerable. So there has been some testing, but with the new standard in place, there are more systems that we'll likely discover.
What's the update date on that? It's too small for me to read.
What's the what? Sorry?
The date that was created. I see
Oh.
the bottom corner on the right.
I'm covered by my Zoom.
Oh, it says updated
9/25.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty current.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so right, like Ayer is on this, even though the water is being treated and may no longer be over 20, but it's still showing. But yes, just good to remember that many communities are going through this.
Yep.
And just to reiterate, there are no federal drinking water standards, what we call maximum contaminant levels, or MCLs. Massachusetts is one of the few states that's come up with a guideline or a standard. Guideline is more like, this is kind of the recommended upper level, but it usually implies it's not enforceable. But Massachusetts is one of the only ones that has an actual standard. And most have focused just on a handful of PFAS chemicals. So over time, these guidelines have drifted downwards, so becoming stricter. Back in 2016, the EPA issued a lifetime health advisory of 70 parts per trillion, and that was for the total amount of PFOS and PFOA. And I know in Hyannis that caused a flurry of activity because the water supply was above that. And they couldn't just turn off one contaminated well because there were a number of wells that were over that level. So they've also had to purchase water and install treatment, and they've been ratcheting down as first the EPA and then the state have kind of ratcheted down as well. So some states are looking at PFOS and PFOA separately, and there are a couple of other chemicals that are considered as well. Vermont started with a sum of 5 back in 2016 as well. So over time, sometimes it seems like states are all over the place, but really, in this New Hampshire one actually came down, really the recent ones have converged in this 10 to 20 parts per trillion range. That's for one chemical, and sometimes it's the sum. So yeah, so here's Massachusetts with the sum of 6. And I don't know how familiar or how tuned in you've been with the sort of process here, but it's been kind of a 2-year process for DEP. First to have this Office of Research and Standard goal, which was the same as the Vermont standard of 70 parts per trillion for 5. The Conservation Law Foundation and Toxics Action Center, which is now called Community Action Works, petitioned all of the New England states asking for a treatment technology-based standard to address all PFAS. And Massachusetts, in response to that, had public hearing and comments. I provided some comments. I bet PACE chimed in as well along the way. And then they went through a process of developing first a groundwater standard, so for groundwater that is or could be used for drinking water. And that came out last year. That's the first time that they started talking about 20 PPT for the sum of 6. And that's what they ultimately adopted in October, became official.
And Laurie, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Ayer has always been below 20, not from the individual wells, but the blended water that goes out.
No, we've had some that was higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not
All right.
tremendously high, not as high as some communities have to deal with, but yeah, it was higher, and Mark took it on before we were required to.
Yeah, I know it. But so now, are we with treatment? Are we like, what are our levels currently, roughly?
I hope to have that information by our PACE meeting. I don't know that
Okay.
I'm able to test it yet.
Yeah.
My understanding is that with Grow Pond wells, it's going to come down to probably 0 or very close to it. And then with Spec Pond has low numbers, so once it's blended, it should be below the 20 parts per trillion.
Yeah.
My understanding. I still filter at home. I always will, but
Yeah. Okay.
And I think even when the blend might have averaged out to something lower, one thing that we'll talk about this probably just a bit later is there's not complete mixing within the distribution system. So depending on where you live, if you live closer to the Grove Pond wells, you might have had higher exposures in the past. So so I can't, do a water talk without a little bit of chemistry. But these are our friends, PFOS and PFOA. These are the two PFAS that are most commonly found. And I know it looks like oh shoot, I have the same one here twice. Well, I know it looks like a bit of an alphabet stew here, but these are the 6 PFAS that are in the Massachusetts standard. So PFOA, the O is for octa, so that means it's got 8 carbons here. That's this backbone. 4 of these other ones look exactly the same. This is PFOA. This is one that just has 7 instead of 8 carbons. This has 9. This is 10. And then PFOS and its slightly shorter chain cousin PFHXS. So those are the 6. And I think DEP really tried to stick close to these 2, for which there's the most health evidence. PFNA also and PFHXS have been studied, but I think for 2 of the other ones, they said, these look very similar. The chain lengths are very similar. We're going to err on the side of caution for now in the absence of a lot of information and assume that they have similar toxicities, and we're just going to lump them all together.
Okay, gotcha.
That's not usually what they do, I think, right? In this country, we have to prove that they cause problems before we take them off the market. In Europe, they
Yep, that's true. That's not always how regulations happen. So I was pleased to see that. I mean, PFDA doesn't really show up that much in water. It's probably more of a concern for fish. It tends to, as the longer you get, the more they tend to bioaccumulate. So the longer chain ones are more of a concern from fish than from water. But It's certainly not, I think our comments on this said, this is a good step. It's an important step. The fact it's enforceable means that all the water supplies will have to do some testing. But to also, keep our eye on the bigger picture and recognize there can be other ones as well.
Okay.
So that's your PFAS 101 for tonight. And then we wanted to spend a few minutes more, if there's time, to talk about the study itself.
Yep. You do have to keep an eye on time, but I do want to get into what the study is going to.
Okay, yeah, feel free to get the hook out when you need it. But we'll try to be brief for tonight. As a reminder, so CDC and the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry is funding 7 projects across the country to look at associations between PFAS exposures and health effects. So these are our partners here. We're the Spring Institute is the lead organization. We have researchers from Harvard and Eastern Research Group, and our community partners are PACE and on the Cape Mass Breast Cancer Coalition. So the scope of the study, so again, the core questions are, we do know a fair bit about links between PFAS exposures and health effects. It's limited to just a couple of PFAS, and there's still some discrepancies in the scientific literature. So by pooling information together from many different communities, we have more statistical power to learn about links between exposures and health effects. So these are some of the kinds of measurements that will be made through the study. So people will provide a blood sample that will be measured for PFAS. It'll also be measured for cholesterol and lipids. Elevated cholesterol seems to be one of the health effects most tightly or most consistently linked with PFAS. There's effects on thyroid hormones, liver and kidney function. Some of these are sort of markers of effect, right? Like high cholesterol in and of itself isn't like harmful, right? It like leads to other health effects like cardiovascular disease. So there'll also be collection of medical records to look for actual like adverse health outcomes.
Yeah. And what does it do with the thyroid hormones? Does it inhibit, or is it like a multiplier effect, or neither?
Oh, I kind of want to say both. I could go back and look that up. I don't remember off the top of my head
just curious
which way it can alter. It seems to alter thyroid hormone levels, and then at the level of a person, it seems to have effects on thyroid function.
Okay, got it.
Laura, when does the interview process start for these? It says phase 1 in Hyannis is in the spring, phase 2 for us starting late 2021. Do you already have people applying for this?
Not yet. So we don't. So ATSDR has to get approval from both Human Subjects Review Board and also from the Office of Management and Budget. And they haven't totally signed off on everything yet. So even if we were ready to, which we're not because there's still many steps along the way, ATSDR doesn't have final approval to launch the study. One of the other 7 projects is hoping to get started in January. I'll be curious to see if they really stick to that. We're planning to open the office in Hyannis in March or April. We've identified a space, and we'll see what wrenches COVID throws at us. I was just on a call today there's a similar study happening at Pease up in Portsmouth that ATSDR is leading, and some people on the call were wondering, like, should we really be recruiting people with COVID? Rates are going up. So, we're moving ahead and assuming that we'll be able to do the study as we hope. But, if the governor tells everyone to stay home, if you're not an essential worker, then...
I know. Anything could happen with that.
On standby. Yeah.
And even if we can do our work, are people going to want to come in? I think it's, I think people are, I don't know, I feel like things have opened up again, but we could kind of end up hunkering back down again over the winter.
Yeah, so, very well could.
I think so.
So this actually might be a good, because it's just a minute after 6, I'm noticing. So if if this is a good stopping place for you, I know that you, I'm sure, have a lot more to say. But we're kind of getting to a topic that I'd like to be able to devote more time to, and that's what is this study going to mean for Ayer residents? What will they, and I know we had the informational session, but it was a while ago. So in future presentations, I'd like to kind of look at that piece of it. What exactly are they going to have to do? What could be the benefit to them? What could be the downsides?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If any, and kind of start to make this like a real thing. That we are. This is going to involve people, and we're going to get this thing, off the ground. And I know we started talking about it a long time ago, but I think it would be just good to do a little bit of preparation to kind of, get people ready for.
I think that's great. Yeah, I've just skipped over a few things, and we can maybe go back to that next time. But yeah, just to think about like what we could start doing now is, getting the word out, raising awareness, and we're starting to put a community advisory board together as well. So,
okay. Well, that's every little bit of information we get here is one more piece. Could you send your presentation to Heather so that she can put it on the Board of Health website? Just
sure.
Is there, Heather, do you know offhand, is there, or Cindy or somebody, is there a section within the Ayer website, not necessarily Board of Health, but is there a dedicated section for like PFAS and the Silent Spring study where informational resources go?
Yeah, Pam, I'm pretty sure that Mark Wetzel has a separate category for PFAS.
That's where it is.
Okay.
Right.
That's a good idea.
And it's ayer.ma.us/PFAS.
Perfect. So maybe this presentation really belongs there, and any other copies of even some of the previous presentations that you've done for us.
Yeah.
Because I liked having it all in one place, so people don't feel like they have to really burrow for it.
Yeah, we try to make it.
What would be helpful, Cindy, I don't know if you can do this, but if we can have at the Board of Health site a pointer to the PFAS.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I can do the same thing for PACE with PACE.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah. Okay.
So there's one repository, but we have pointers to it from different
Yes.
access points. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's and so might we be able to meet with you in December, or is that probably we should look at January because
I think we're going to have to look at January just because we've got a couple of things coming up we've got a continued public hearing, and then you're of course welcome to stay, but we're anticipating, unfortunately, having to spend a bit more time on COVID because things are not really trending well there right now. So if you want to see where the town is with COVID, you're welcome to stay or watch the rest at another point. And I'm so sorry to have to cut your presentation short. There's so much good information buried in there. So I thank you for sharing and cross-referencing on the DPW, PACE, and the town. Any place we can access it is great. Yeah. And thank you for trying to break this into little, pieces for it. So what with our time constraints and
everything
else, that's really appreciated. So, Lori, if I coordinate through you for what's coming up in January.
Yes, let's plan to do that.
If you can give us a week's notice, and then we need to.
Yeah.
We should be able to give you more than just a week's notice. Yeah, no problem.
That would be great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for giving
Thank
us
you.
that
Nice to
in-
see you all.
You too.
Yeah,
I'm going to stay down for a little bit. 'cause
absolutely.
I'm going on with COVID. So, Laura,
Oh, hang out. Hang out.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hop off, I think. Thank you.
Thanks, Laurel.
Okay. Nice talking to you and seeing you as always.
See you soon. Thanks. Take
Bye.
care.
So, COVID. Oh my gosh. So, I did attend every Monday morning. I think, as some of you know, there is a town that, or a town-wide, kind of the appropriate department heads, and Robert and I call into that, and it's kind of like the weekly COVID.
Mhm.
Where are we? Anybody having any unusual problems? We all set with PPE. So unfortunately, this morning, Bridget was a little down because the cases they're piling in. She said that Tamara is getting, now this is not just from Ayer, but from the 17 towns that they cover, they're getting consistently 20 or 30 cases a day, new cases being reported. And they're tending at this point not to be the schools, I guess, congratulations, Trish. You're doing a good job with that.
No
Because
kidding.
schools, yeah.
Yeah, the schools are, and the kids are awesome. They keep their masks on. They're
Yeah.
constantly sanitizing. We're cleaning the desks. So it's not mostly our population. It's bringing it from other
Yeah.
places,
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's, spreading through. There's nothing, going on through the schools that it's spreading. Most of the cases lately have been from eat-in restaurants. And she actually brought up a really interesting scenario that what will happen in some of the eating establishments is that, you'll have a group that's already there. Maybe they're already in their group of 6 or they're 5 or whatever. Then somebody new walks in the door and it's, oh, hi, I haven't seen you in so long. And so now the group grows by 2, and these, things kind of take on a life of their own. So
Right.
I guess it's been hard to enforce, on a truly a minute-to-minute basis, the rules about having only 6 people. Takeout has seen no effects, so that's a good thing. We can keep supporting local restaurants with takeout.
Right.
That certainly helps. So it's eat-in restaurants, and then, kind of the usual sort of, I don't know, what I guess we're all calling super spreader events now, where it will be related to a church or a wedding or some type of event, some family reunion event, and you'll get this big cluster of people. So, it's the numbers they're going in the wrong direction for the country.
Yeah.
And even in our little corner here of Massachusetts.
And I will say, Pam, when you said restaurants, the culprit, the masks are off.
Well, right, yeah.
Right. And in the larger, I know from a family experience, in other large group, participatory things, people that have masks, at least they're trying.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work. But yeah, I get it. And I think that's going to be what's going to close the schools again. And some of the models that the schools, not the one that I'm in, but there's rumblings that some of them are going to close after Thanksgiving and not open until the new year, because the 2 big holidays where the families get together and more than 10 people.
Oh, right.
So some schools will go remote from Thanksgiving to the new year.
Got it.
that's been discussed. It's not,
Yeah.
in where I work, but it is being discussed, so they might have to.
Yeah, she had a good, I think when she summed it up as it's people letting their guard down, because you start to feel like, well, I'm in a safe little group here, but maybe I have a child that goes to school, but he's not sick, and I know the school's doing the right thing. And then it can be the smallest thing that expands that little unit by, oh, and a relative, stops in, or, you think, well, I know that my whatever aunt and uncle are taking appropriate precautions, so we'll get together. And it just takes one infected person, as you know, to get into the mix. So unfortunately, we're in an uptick, and I certainly hope that turns around for us, but it's sounding ugly. Also, there as I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are you allowed to say what's
Yes.
going on in Ayer specifically?
Yes, Ayer has, I think she said we might have, and I think they're still doing some of the testing and searching, might be 8 new cases in the last week. But I wouldn't take that 8 to the bank, because it's we might have. So it's, matching up now people that are symptomatic and, actually getting the test results. The other thing that's happening that I find very, very disappointing is that people are not telling the truth to the contact tracers. And they're having a lot of problems with people that are just saying, I went nowhere. I was home. There's nowhere to go. I just stayed home. No friends came over. I saw nobody. I didn't go anywhere. And it's either blatantly not true, because they don't really want to then drag in their friends there when they're getting in quarantine, or you just forget that, oh, geez, yeah, I did, go here or there. With that 2-week incubation time, I can't remember what I did yesterday, never mind a week and a half ago.
And do we still go by the color, the numbers reflect the color coding, where it's like white, yellow, green, how the levels and the different towns?
Yes, I think that is still happening. And at the Mass Department of Health website, they have the map that comes up as soon as you get on. And
I know 2 weeks ago we were white.
Yeah, they update. I think it's once a week, and it might be on Thursdays that gets updated. So I wouldn't be surprised, even if you look today, if it's a different color by the weekend. But so really, people, just be vigilant, take the right precautions, keep your darn masks on, don't stop with the hand washing and the sanitizing, and above all, be honest with the contact tracing, because that is the only way really that we have of corralling this thing and figuring out who's potentially affected. So disappointing COVID news for us. So what Bridget had sent out is just just a little update for us for what's actually going on in Ayer, and that Neshoba is just they're just really trying to encourage people to stay at home as much as you can, and stay away from even family if they're not in your living unit, in your COVID pod. And don't start bringing in any new influences. It is not the time.
I know, and it's like people get complacent. I know myself, I got complacent, especially over the summer with the good weather, because I was outside so much. And I think a lot of people with the good weather, it puts you in a whole different mindset. Yeah. But I did overhear several conversations at my elementary school, at the day after Halloween, I was a little horrified that people were having parties and sleepovers and, oh, but I know them. They're my neighbors and we're together all the time and we play together all the time, but we don't go anywhere else. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no. You know?
I know. And I've heard and read quite a bit about, well, you know, kids are playing together out after school, and I get it. It's tough. You know, you can't put them under lock and key, and I get that. But the real difficulty is, and I don't mean to lecture, but the real issue comes when you start expanding your circle a little bit, and then somehow through that expansion, you get into grandparents or people, you know, that have these underlying conditions, which, let's face it, as we're all getting older, we're all accumulating underlying conditions.
Right.
And that's where it gets very dangerous, because kids are still not, you know, having really bad
reaction
symptoms for the most part. So it's a sneaky virus. That's why viruses have, you know, survived since the beginning of time, because they're sneaky little buggers, no pun intended. All right. So on that note, I'd like to segue then into Neshoba information. Heather, she said that she left an envelope, but they're in the middle of food renewals, so there are inspection reports and
there was a ton of inspection reports in there. And
Okay.
licenses. There was I think maybe two inspection reports, but tons of permits, license renewals in there. A good stack of those.
Okay. Yeah, she will usually let me know if there's a you know, something that's really noteworthy that we should take a look at. But as those come in, Heather, if you could just take a look at them, see if there's anything that looks, you know, anybody has a lot of findings, or certainly if there are critical findings from her inspections, just scan it and
Send it to you. Sure
send
can.
it out to us. So that's at least good. We're not things aren't falling apart with the food licensing. Next thing. So is that all from Neshoba? Is there anything else from Neshoba, Heather, that we should be?
No, we're just really through the when Bridget sent that information to us this afternoon about the whole COVID, she had links on there to state sites for anyone to go to.
Yes.
About contact tracing, about wearing a mask, about staying home.
Yeah.
We'll make sure I get the to Cindy, make sure we get those onto the town's website in the COVID section, but everyone needs to
Perfect.
understand that everything that the Board of Health, whether it's the Neshoba Board of Health or they call me at the town hall, all I'm telling them to do is to go to the state.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right.
And if they don't like the answers that they get from the state, then they need to call the Massachusetts Department of Health. Because everything that we're doing comes from the state. So if they don't like it, we're not in charge of changing anything. We're in charge of doing what the state tells us. So they should call the state and complain to them.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. We're really, and I shouldn't say we, because I'm not feeling the pain that the folks at Neshoba are, but you know, they're running themselves ragged just keeping up with stuff that's going on. So they're certainly not out there making any, you know, new or stricter rules than what the state is requiring.
Yeah.
That's because we've only had a few of those people come in and ask about saying that why hasn't anything been done? I've made this complaint several times and everything. We're doing everything that we can do, that the state tells us we can do. If they have any further complaints, I suggest that they call the Massachusetts Department of Health. So if anyone has any complaints beyond what the Neshoba and Town and Ayer Board of Health have been doing, urge them to contact the state department.
Yeah, that's actually an important distinction, that if their complaint is with the state guidelines, which are the same as what Neshoba and we are putting out there, then yes, they have to take that up with the state. On the other hand, though, every time I talk to Bridget, she's driving on her way somewhere to follow up on a mask or distancing complaint, from you name it, from stores, for restaurants. So you still have that option. If you have a complaint that's like a specific thing about an establishment in particular that's in Neshoba's 17 towns, then yeah, they're still taking complaints and they're following up on them. So you are free to do that. Right. So I think we're okay then on Neshoba. Trish, did you have a chance to review the meeting minutes from the 28th?
Yeah, I looked at them quickly. They seem okay. I didn't see anything that needed a change. Did you?
No.
That was the 28th minutes? Yeah.
Yes, the meeting. Yeah. The minutes from the 28th. Yes. And so just to kind of follow up on that, there's something in there about Mary's resignation letter. I did call into the selectmen's meeting last Monday, and they had on their agenda the issue of filling our open spot on the board. So they're working on it. They're making the information public that there's an opening.
Yeah, it's been posted. I saw the that went
Yeah.
out.
So they're kind of they drive the process from here on forward, because they collect the applications, and I think they set up the meeting. It'll be a joint meeting with us, so probably won't happen at a Board of Health meeting. It might be us joining a part of the selectmen's meeting. I don't really know yet what the details will be, but it's in the works.
Okay. I just need to try and know a little a heads up, because that's why I feel badly I'm not able to go to the call into the PACE meetings, these meetings that are during the day.
Yeah, I know.
At work, but not everybody can meet at night either. So I
know. I'm really lucky that I can, do something during the day and make up for it just by working later at night. But not everybody has that kind of.
No, I know.
So, yeah.
So if it happens to be during the selectmen's meeting, they're usually at night though, right?
Yeah, they always do it during a selectmen's meeting, and they'll make sure it's a meeting that the two of you can be at.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thaned you, Heather.
No, you're welcome. I've done it before for planning board, so I know all about it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
All right.
I know. This is the first time I've ever had to fill a position, so
Yeah.
I'm a little rusty. So on that note, if you have reviewed the minutes of September 28th, as I have, and I find them to be just fine, I will make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'll do the same thing again with this one, ladies. I'll sign it, scan it, email it to Trish. You're able to open like PDF email attachments?
Yeah, I got the last one. Yep, and I was able to
Okay.
scan it through, even though I have an old system here that it didn't work. The printer scanner that I have. Yeah, that worked.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, great. So, anything with mail or bills?
Nope, it's been pretty light the last few weeks. Hasn't been any bills that come through. Typically, though I think one just came in today. I'll have to look at it. I don't know what it's for, so I have to look and see what that was for, and
Okay.
I'll let you know.
A mail or a bill?
It was a bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Public
right,
hearing
if
notice. I have
it's-
to look see what it was for.
If it's something that I can just approve,
Yeah.
just send it over and I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
All right. So how about status check on our permits? How's everything going in the world of chickens and trash haulers? And
So I have a new chicken permit application. I'll get that all
Okay.
set and send that over to you, Pam, to sign. I did last week send out all the tobacco renewals. Those are due at the end of of December. I have gotten a couple of those back as well. And later this week, last week, with the election occurring, and I'm off Friday because of my kids' school. It was a short week.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of time. But this week I hope to get the trash hauler renewals out as well. If not, the end of this week, I'll get them out first thing next week. So we'll hopefully be in good shape for December on both of those.
Okay, perfect. Now on the new chicken,
Yep.
They go through May. So, okay, all right, gotcha. I know we have the strangest ending dates for some of our things. I have no idea why that particular permit happens at that time, but it does. Okay. All right, so trash haul is going out this week or next. Tobaccos, we've got under control. Anything else in the world of permits and?
No, I think that's it. You only have those three, so.
Okay. All right. So then for next week, then action items for next week's meeting, I believe, Heather, unless you've heard otherwise, I think we still rather have Attorney Ringwall.
Yeah, we'll have Bruce Ringwell from GPR, who's the engineer for Calvin Moore, who's doing his house on Snake Hill Road. I don't know if you saw the email that I sent him, because I know Bridget wants plenty of time to review that Title V.
Yeah.
So I keep asking him for it in hopes that we get it sooner than later. But we still have. I don't know if she's seen that yet or not.
Yeah.
But he is still planning on coming on the 23rd.
Okay. All right. Yeah. As long as just try to stay on top of him about it.
Oh yeah, I've known him for many years. I know.
I bet you have. That's right. Yeah.
Where is this? Snake Hill
It's
Road?
Calvin Moore's house on Snake Hill Road. He's building a new house up there. He's putting a huge addition on. So it's on a septic system. So he's asking for a deed restriction on that, a bedroom deed restriction.
Yes. So he may or may not have the Title V report on the existing septic by then. So as long as he
does, because I don't see how Bridget can weigh in on it without that.
But yeah, I know. So
which is what I told him in the email I sent last week.
Yep.
That not having it in time may impede the board's ability to make a decision at that night. So.
Yeah, we absolutely won't be able to make a decision that night unless he's got the Title V, all of the information in, and Bridget's been able to review it.
Yeah. So I'll send that email out again to him next week if she hasn't seen it.
All right. I mean, he can still, discuss it if he wants to, just as long as he understands that he would be just providing us with information. There's nothing actionable, nothing we can act on at that point. Okay, great. And then on the other issue, our public meeting for Casamana, the second part of that is December 14th. Is that right? Okay. Yeah, that continuation was, and that's appropriate because there's a lot of information that he's got to collect and send in. So on that note,
so the next meeting is the 23rd.
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 It is. Yeah, it's the 23rd. And as you heard, I asked Laurie and Laurel. I think their idea of holding off until January for any more on that is perfect, because that will allow us to get through some of this. The public hearing, the issue with Calvin Moore, if anything comes up with permits and that sort of thing, and our old friend COVID, which will most likely still be here. So
still be here.
That's it.
yeah. still lurking out there. So, anything else? Okay, that's quiet. I'll take that as a no. So
I think we covered a lot.
We did. Yes,
Yes.
we did. Are you in the mood to make any motions?
Yes. What time is it? I make a motion to end the, it is Monday,
Yeah.
Monday, November 9th meeting of the Board of Health adjourned, please.
Okay, I have it at 6:32. At least that's what my computer says. So.
Yes, it is at 6:32.
Okay, I will second your motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned, ladies. Thank you very much.
Okay.